This is Orlando Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday, February 11th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we're discussing possible book challenges coming to Orange County Public Schools, plus skyrocketing prices for chicken wings before the big game this Sunday. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have education reporter Leslie Postal and business reporter Austin Fuller. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Leslie, coming to you first here. We're talking about how one book has already been removed by Orange County Public Schools and three others are under review. Can you tell us more about the situation?
Yes, I mean, first of all, this is something that's happening across the state and across the country. There's parents and legislators who are challenging some of the books that are in school libraries, mostly saying they're too sexually explicit and they shouldn't be there. OCPS did remove one book after a parent complained about it because administrators agreed the illustrations in it were very explicit and they decided that was not appropriate. The other three books, they're just reviewing and they say they remain on the shelves at this point.
Now, just for clarity's sake here, Leslie, what books are we talking about?
Well, there's a number of them. The current ones that are being looked at, there's one called All Boys Aren't Blue. It's a memoir by a man who is gay and Black. It's about his experiences growing up as a Black gay man. There's another one, actually, it's the book by talk show host Trevor Noah about his childhood. There's another book that called Lawn Boy that involves a gay relationship. Those are the ones that are under review right now in Orange County, and some of the same ones that have come under fire in different places in Florida, as well as, like I said, across the country.
Now, Leslie, something that your report addresses here is how challengers to these books are saying that the reason why they'd like them removed is because of different sexual themes. However, opponents to those challengers are suggesting that those aren't the real motives. What are they actually suggesting here?
Right. They're saying that it seems like most of the books that are being challenged involve Black or LGBTQ characters, and they think that's really the issue. They also point out that, lots of books, including classics, including the Bible, have sexually explicit scenes. And these are books in the library. They're not required reading. They're not part of classroom instruction. And often they're just in high school libraries. And that, they say they should be available for students who want to read them. And if parents don't want their kids to read them, that's fine, but they should be available.
Now, I want to address the broader subject here, Leslie, because as you mentioned, it's not just Orange County that's going through this. It's not even just Central Florida. Lots of different parts of the country are having similar conversations right now. And I believe you looked into some statements that the American Library Association actually made as far as how many challenges to books we're actually seeing. How big is this?
Well, they said that there's been what they called a dramatic uptick in challenges. They were very dismayed, as I just said, about the types of books that seem to be challenged. And they were dismayed by what they said were efforts at censorship from public schools. They recorded more than 300 challenges just in the last 3 months of 2021. They haven't done a full tally for the year. They'll release that in the spring as part of their annual Banned Books Week, but they expect it will surpass what they saw in 2019. It's already far surpassed 2020, but 2020 was an odd year for schools with lots of schools remote. So that's not quite a normal year. But yes, lots of national groups are very concerned about this. And two local mothers in Orange County have formed Florida Freedom to Read Project because they're very concerned about books being removed from the school libraries. So there's definitely a lot of concern on one hand, and then also a lot of people pushing for these books to be taken out.
Just to have like a comparison there, Leslie, I believe I saw in your report that in 2019, the total amount of books challenged was about 337. And as you had mentioned, it's the total right now between the 3 months of September to, I want to say, November is 300 already.
Right. That's why they say, I guess they have not done a total yearly tally, but they do expect that it will probably far, far exceed what they last counted in 2019. Exactly.
Wow. Really interesting story. If you all are interested in finding out more about it, take a look at Leslie's work at orlandosentinel.com for more on that. Leslie, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, Austin, I'm coming to you for our next story here. The big game is on Sunday, the Super Bowl. So many people look forward to the game, but so many more people look forward to getting together and swapping appetizers, having a good meal, and a lot of the time that includes chicken wings. And according to one of your more recent headlines, that could cost you an arm and a leg. Austin, I hate this story, but I do love some of the language that you use in it. So let's go ahead and talk about why chicken wings are, well, at least their prices are set to take flight. Uh, why is that?
So the price of chicken wings actually went up last year, but like you mentioned, there's something going on Sunday where people may want to eat wings, and if they're going to do that, if they're a year or two ago they were used to paying 75 cents, 80 cents a wing, they might be paying $1.50, $1.75, $2 a wing. We've reported a lot on just price increases at the grocery store, price increases at restaurants. There's a lot of reasons for that, a lot of supply chain issues. Something that sets wings apart, not only are they popular on a day like Super Bowl Sunday, but if you have a chicken breast, you're usually only eating one. If you get a dozen wings, you got a lot of birds you got to process to get all those wings.
So as you mentioned, a pretty unique situation as far as that commodity goes and trying to, establish pricing for it. Now, one thing I do want to address there, Austin, is in your story, you mentioned shortages, and certainly something that we had heard last year was chicken wing shortage. But some of the sources that you talked to are confident that we're not going to see shortages so much this year, as much as we are just going to see chicken wings just running out in some restaurants. Is that right?
I would not expect mass shortages. Nobody's got them. Nobody. I wouldn't expect that. Winn-Dixie, if you're getting it from the grocery store, has already said we're not putting a limit on it. A lot of grocery stores at Thanksgiving put limits on Thanksgiving items ahead of the holiday. Winn-Dixie so far has not done that with wings. And the sources I talked to said, sure, you could be at a restaurant and they're going to sell out. But that would have happened before the pandemic, would have happened before any of this. But there's not going to be widespread shortages. If you want your wings, don't get them last minute. Get there ahead of everybody else.
Right. Like you said, less to do with the supply chain, more to do with the insane demand that we're likely to see that day.
There is a little bit of a lower supply, but that's really just affecting the prices more than this idea that you're not going to be able to get your chicken wings.
Austin, before we move on, there is just one figure that I wanted to address here, just because I thought it was such a insane number. In your story, you talked about the estimated amount of chicken wings that Americans are likely to consume on Super Bowl Sunday. What is that number?
Right, that's from the National Chicken Council, and it's 1.42 billion wings.
I can't even wrap my mind around that number for that single day.
And remember, you get 2 wings and 2 drumsticks per chicken, so it's a lot of chickens.
Right. That's nearly 3 billion chickens, unless my math is off there. It's pretty wild, Austin. So there you guys go. There's your warning as far as prices at different stores. If you're interested in getting chicken wings, make sure to get there early so you don't run into any problems. And if you're looking for more on this story, you can of course find out more at orlandosentinel.com. Austin, thanks a lot. All right, before we move on, we do want to give you a feature from our own Scott Maxwell and a video about his hate mail. Let's take a look at that right now.
Hi, I'm Scott Maxwell, Metro columnist for the Orlando Sentinel, and it's time again to have some meaningful dialogue with the people who make this job so rewarding. We start with one that came in over the holidays where Art wrote, "Merry Christmas." Art, I've heard a lot of holiday greetings in my time, but none that managed to honor the birth of our Savior quite like yours. God bless us, each and every one. Jamie writes, "Blow it out your no one listens to your propaganda." Jamie, here at the Orlando Sentinel, we pride ourselves on having some of the most blowing propaganda in town, so thank you for noticing. Richard says, "You are the reason I won't read the Orlando Sentinel." Richard, I not only respect that, I'm grateful. Non-readers are some of the most loyal followers we have. They write all the time to let us know that they didn't read the pieces that they just read, and to remind us that they won't be reading the pieces that they're sure to complain about the next time. So thank you for not reading. David writes, "I can't even finish your articles. You are a moron." David, I think the problem may have been that you started reading the pieces to begin with. Richard and the other non-readers find that they're able to offer much more thorough commentary by not reading our work in the first place. And finally, AP writes, "Orlando Sentinel placed the race card." AP, this was a rare instance where I needed an interpreter for something written in English. Allegedly. Thanks to all our readers for all the passionate feedback. Until the next time I'm ready to blow some propaganda right out my ass, I'm Scott Maxwell.
All right, well, there you go. If you're looking to find out more news and even more information about the stories that we talked about here today, you can take a look at orlandosentinel.com for more on that. And for those of you who are subscribers to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for supporting work like this on OSN and the stories that we got to talk about here today. If you want to become a supporter, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But that'll do it for us today here on OSN. Thank you to Leslie and Austin for keeping us filled in what's going on in our community. We'll be back again with more news next week. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.